Better turn this radio off or our music off. Can't be getting demonetized. As if we were monetized. Anyways, welcome back, guys. Another day out here in the shop. Boost knuckles broke. Civic's getting ready to go to I almost said California, Colorado, and just buttoning up a couple things on the car. I need to get down inside the car, and not like it really matters, but I need to put some of the interior back together. Took the plastic bezel piece off the dash and stuff, so I was actually going to try and do some wiring there. I don't know if I'm going to have time for it. Yeah, got to do all that. Well, I say all that, it's just put it back together, clean it up, clean it out. I need to pull the seat belts out of it, which reminds me, sitting here looking at it. And then my wing, the supports, or I say the side pieces here, get pretty flimsy. And I used to have, which is still on there, and you can actually see it sticking out the bottom, which that drives me crazy. Velcro holding this piece on. Granted, the Velcro is probably going to stay there because it keeps it off my paint, and it's really hard to see, but I actually have a fine, you can see a small line right there. I've actually got clear vinyl right there too, just because I didn't want it rubbing on the car. And it's done really good over the years. It's been on there for a long time. But my buddy Troy over at Wind Racing makes aluminum wings and stuff, and we actually have his supports on the wing, which we just put them on here not too long ago because I had some just like self-made fabricated lower brackets, and he's got these nice CNC billet pieces. But with that being said, we're gonna add a bracket to the side of this wing support. So he sent me with some steel rod, Heims, and another bracket, and we're going to try and add a bracket up inside here and then weld to this rod here, all of which are steel. They, you know, if they're aluminum obviously would be nice too, but that's just what mine were made out of, so we're just going to roll with it. But yeah, so I'm going to dig the TIG welder out, and we're going to try and weld this steel rod to here and hope to get these in the same spot on both sides. And then the only downfall is you'll see a couple rivets on the side of the wing here, but if I'm lucky I can find some black-headed rivets. If not, it's not like it's gonna stand out that bad. I mean, it might look kind of cool actually, but anyways, I'm gonna dig the welder out, probably drag the TIG over here, and then I'm gonna clean off some of this paint, and we're gonna try and weld these brackets on here for this wing, see if we can add some support to it. All right, so I got one side kind of semi-mocked up here. The bracket got that steel rod all grinded down. That way I can tack it together. And then I've only got 3 rivets in it, just holding that in place. But basically it's gonna pull back on this. I'll have to tighten it up a little bit. Which I can probably, nah, we won't do that. But anyways, I'm gonna clean this steel rod, this, what is this, ER70 rod. I'm gonna chuck it up because it's kind of rusty because it's ER70. It's basically like mild steel. It's not stainless. So I'm gonna chuck this up in my drill here, and I'm gonna clean it with some Scotch-Brite. Tack this up. See if I can find a spot to put the camera here without knocking it over.
It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16 buff in the dark.
hate welding upside down because I cannot do it to save my life. And then I just realized I've got my big tungsten in here, which is definitely overkill, which is probably why it didn't want to tack. I dipped my wick. So, yeah. I suck at welding. Anyways, I'm gonna pop this off here. Get it out in front of me so I'm not uncomfortable underneath this car trying to weld this. And then we'll go from there. Stand by. All right, so we got the little support brackets or support rods on the wing, the little ones that we decided to add just to add some strength and keep this from trying to flex too much, which is still going to flex a little because of the way it's angled and the way it's got a heim on the end. It will cause it to still flex or will allow it to still flex. For the next order of business, I've been kind of looking over the car, and there's a couple things on the car that I just can't live with, and I can't live with letting everybody see it. My 20-year-old self, you know, built most of the cage and most of this stuff with an old MIG welder back in the day. The cage was, a lot of it was TIG'd. It is a mild steel cage, so you could technically MIG it. But this parachute mount, this was something that came off someone else's car that I tried to cut and shorten and make work on the Civic. It does hang off the back of the car pretty far, and I think I want to redo that. So I'm going to pull the deck lid off this, which is a huge pain in the butt because it's all fiberglass and it's all Zeused on. But I'm going to pull this off, and I'll probably sit on the car trailer outside so I don't trip over it. And I'm going to get this parachute and mount and stuff off of it. I'm going to take some measurements. I want to try and get some new piping for it, or new tubing to build it. If I can't find new tubing, then I'm just going to cut all this stuff off, and I'll start over from scratch. But I don't know, I guess we'll find out.
It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16 buff in the dark.
All right, so we got the trunk off. Ugh, God, I haven't had this stuff off in a long time. It's probably best. I might go ahead and vacuum out the inside of the trunk here. Gosh, it looks really dirty on camera, but it's actually really clean. I'm gonna go through, I'm just weirdo. I'm gonna wipe all this down, but I'm gonna pull this bar here. I gotta unbolt this here. Ideally, this bolt should have been out here underneath the bumper because it would have been easier to get this bar out without having to pull the deck lid. But, and look, I still got these things. I need to take all this stuff out. I went from street car to race car and never did anything with all this, like hinges and stuff. I wonder if I can pull all these out. Maybe I'll try and pull those out while I'm in here. But I mean, it's still got the rear deck speakers and stuff in it. I mean, it's a street car. But anyways, I'm gonna pull this out and take the pack off of it. And all right, so I got that out, took some measurements, and the tubing on this car is, oh, gotta turn some lights on. The tubing on this roll cage is all mild steel, so it's 1 5/8. The way this is set up, which here you're gonna see I got it in this bandsaw, but I was gonna try and get some new pipes. So I think I'm just gonna try and salvage what I got and redo it a little. So I'm gonna cut this clevis off here because these welds here look like crap. And then whenever I do that, I'll take and cut this piece off. I'll probably have to cut this piece off with the cut-off wheel and angle grinder. And then we'll just use that piece, and then I'll add a new piece, maybe with a new plate and a new clevis, and just salvage this bar, because that's the one that connects into the back of the cage. So this was a huge pain, if you can tell, to get inside here. I actually was looking at it for a minute. I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to cut that. And I was like, well, why don't I just stick this above the blade, and then so yeah, we're gonna chop this off real quick and then figure out what we're gonna do, and hopefully I have enough time to do this, because I'm like 2 days out from whenever I leave. Not smart to tear apart a car 2 days before you leave, but anyways, I'm gonna get this cut and we'll go from there. All right, so we got the clevis and the bar that hangs it, this one, got this all cut off. So we can try and reuse this. I'm not so worried about the welds on the back of this, because you don't really look at those that much. I didn't even clean this up and paint this thing. It's pretty haggard. But basically I'm going to grind all this old weld and nastiness off here, and then I'll end up taking this and putting it on the top side, to clean up my welds, since those are pretty gross. And then I can make this fit a little better, and I might try and get it to fit a little tighter up against the car, so that way it doesn't hang so far off the back of it. But for now, I'm going to grind all this off. This isn't completely straight because my bandsaw doesn't cut straight, so I'm going to have to clean this up, make this a little flatter. That won't be a huge deal, but I'm going to get this all grinded off, and then I'll grind off some of the top. That way I can weld to this. And I think I may try and reuse the old clevis. Whatever I did with it. Oh, here it is. It's pretty gnarly looking. The welds and stuff on the back of it are pretty gross. You can see there where the bandsaw didn't cut straight. But I think what I'll do is, these little clevis pieces here are pretty long. So I think what I might do is I'll reuse these, but I'll just cut it down, like say here, and then I'll weld my own piece of flat plate in the back, because it looks like that's what that was. You can see where there's a weld right down the side of them. So somebody made this their own, because I actually got this piece off of another car. But yeah, I'll have to make another little piece of flat steel there. We'll cut this down, make these a little shorter, and yeah, we should be headed in the right direction. Hopefully be a fairly quick fix, and make the back of the car look a little nicer. I thought about maybe trying to open this hole up a little bit, because depending on how hard it pulls on the car and what the bumper does, you can see up close it actually cracks the paint. So I may try and open this up a little bit. I'll tape all this off. I don't know why I was trying to point and then use the camera there. I'll tape all this off and then try and open this up a little bit so I don't peel all the paint off of it, and hopefully try and keep that from cracking. But anyways, we got that all welded up on there. We'll still have to do the clevis, but all turned out pretty good. So we'll get the clevis cut down, welded on, and that piece will be ready to go. So couldn't find my own clevis, so I took the old one and cut it apart, made a new one. So we got a clevis now. I just need to grind the scale off the back of that, and then I can weld that. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's definitely going to be functional. It melted this nylon deal here. Kind of stinks, but it is what it is. Just nylon, just keeps from tearing up the parachute loop. But I still got to open this hole up on the back of here, because now that this is welded, you can see right here there's a little indentation there. That's how far forward this bar was. So I moved it back, and I moved it back just a little too far where the weld actually touches the bumper. So I mean, I'm gonna have to open up this hole either way, but yeah, it should look pretty good. Definitely welds look a lot better, and then once I paint it, it'll look 100% better. Like I said, I'm not worried about these ones quite as much. There is what it is. You'll practically never see those, but these just drove me crazy. But yeah, so we'll get that hole opened up, get the clevis welded on it, and then we'll start buttoning that back up, and then that's gonna do it. All right, so as you saw, we got that all welded up, put a little paint on it. Looks a lot better than it did before. Probably be a lot more sturdy now too. But then here I am trying to open this hole up a little bit. I can get it in the hole like that. Come on, make sure it lines up. Line my hole up there. But yeah, see now that weld tucks right up about that right at the bumper there, and it was touching the bumper and was pulling on it, and I was afraid it was going to crack this even more. So I took the put some tape on it, took a little flap disc here, and then just slowly made my way around the hole. Pull this back out. But yeah, just went around the hole like this. Open it up until I felt like I was comfortable with how much space it had. Made sure it wasn't gonna pull on that. But now when you pull this tape off, you want to pull it like towards the hole. You don't want to pull it away from the hole, because then you'll end up peeling the paint, because there's obviously going to be a hard edge right here now. So you want to pull towards that hole. I say that and I'm probably going to rip it off to make sure you don't peel the paint back. Kind of see a little bit of red paint under there still if you look close enough. Boom. Like I said, you can see a little bit of the cracks there where before that this hole was like just perfect size for this bar. So whenever I'd pull the chute, it would probably pull on that bumper a little bit, and then it started cracking it. So now I probably need to make a little plate to cover that up to keep the paint from cracking on it. But shove that in there like that, and right there you got a little, granted that's not tight, but once we tighten this up, I'll actually go ahead and put the bar in it, or put the bolt in it, bolt it down, and cause like right there I just wiggled it and it ended up rubbing on that bumper, so I may end up having to actually take a little more off of it. But anyways, I'll do that real quick, and we'll get the parachute and stuff packed, bolted back down on this, get this all bolted in and ready to go, and I can go ahead and put the trunk lid back on it. All right, so I got the trunk lid back on. Parachute tucks up in there just a little bit more, which I like a lot better, so it didn't hang off quite as far. And now let's just get it off the stands and the blocks here, and we can get it outside, open up the doors. I need to get inside of it and do a couple things and vacuum it out and stuff. And then I'll probably go ahead and try and test fit it in the trailer, and make sure everything will fit and find places for everything and all that. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep following along. We'll see you at Bandemere here in, well, the end of this week. But see y'all on the next one.